Morning, Matt. What a big day. We build up towards the shootout this afternoon, that all-important one lap for 10 drivers to set the top 10 for the Supercheap Auto Bathurst 1000. But so much more to like about that. This is a drama. This is Bruce Williams, and in this jumbled grid race, he was scheduled to start the AC Delco Tirana from 4th place. But they've been battling fueling issues on this car all weekend. He said yesterday in qualifying, they've had a fuel pressure surge and it just shut the car down at McPhillamy Park at the top of the mountain. And when the car turns off, the power steering turns off and the brakes don't work that well either. So he was in a world of pain. Fortunately, he's tucked to the side of the road there on the run-up mountain straight. So I'd suggest he's okay and we're good to go racing.
He's off out of harm's way down there, but what a shame for that car that took such a big impact at Queensland Raceway earlier this year. Qualifying yesterday, a new qualifying record here for Stephen Johnson. Now, we talk about tenths and sometimes hundredths of a second. This was nearly 2 seconds.
And how's this for a stat, Matt? The average lap speed was 164 k's an hour. That's 101 miles an hour in the old Scar, which they used when these cars were racing. So, unbelievable speed from an early 1970s Ford Mustang, driven extremely well by Stephen Johnson. So, 2:16 and a half for pole position. It was an unbelievable lap. Ironically, John Bowe, who was 3rd, and Adam Bressington, who was 2nd, were also under the old lap record, but they were a 2nd behind the pole man. That's for race 2 later on. This is the jumbled grid race, and this is how they line out. It's a twin cam front row with Cameron Tilley and Cameron Mason leading the way to turn 1 with Rusty French and Bruce Williams, originally set to start from 4th, but he'll watch from the side of Mountain Straight.
How's the former Cam Tilley? Rolls up for 4 laps and gets to start from pole today. All part of the script idea. Dave Roberts, the American from South Carolina, is here alongside Belinda Price with a fuel pump with that car yesterday. What saw her qualify towards the back of the field. Paul Freestone and Wayne Mercer. And here's the heavy hitters towards the back. Ryan Hansford and Adam Garwood and Steve Johnson on the back row with the 2 Porsches. Let's go to pit lane. Sorry,
no, guys, conditions are actually quite beautiful down here at the moment. We've had that same headwind up pit straight that we've had all weekend long. It hasn't changed in strength or location, so it'll be interesting anyway. Conditions are relatively low in ambient, track temps down, and cloud cover means this racetrack is going to be extremely quick.
Yeah, the fast guys, though, Cam, at the back of the field, so it'll be fast when they work their way through some of the runners in between this guy, especially John Bowe, who's made a career out of winning these jumbled grid races from the very back of the field. So JB carrying an onboard camera, Rusty French with one as well, a couple of Bathurst legends. JB going from 23rd. Driver to watch for me, Matt, is Eddie Abelnica. He's the first of the real heavy hitters. He goes from 16th, but he didn't qualify real well. They had an engine drama in that car yesterday with problems with the rev limit. They've changed that engine overnight. If it's good, watch for the XB Falcon hardtop to storm its way through. There it is, going through Conrod Straight and run down to the chase.
Just alongside Tony Karanfilowski for this one. So it's the pacer on the front row, the 2 cams. We've got a cam in pit lane as well who'll cover all the action across our support categories here at the Supercheap Auto Bathurst 1000. Race number 1 of the weekend. Another race to come later today and always tomorrow morning. The curtain raiser to the 1000 as through the chase they come. Remember last year we had nearly 50 cars coming down through the chase. I saw a picture of that over the weekend. It's an incredible sight, isn't it?
27 to start this one, which isn't too bad. Very competitive field. Both of the drivers on the front row have experience leading Touring Car Masters races as Mark King just dives into pit lane. The HQ Monaro, he was due to start this one out of the midfield, out of 17th. Anyway, rolling start. Valiant Pacer versus 5-litre Ford Mustang. This should be an interesting drag race to turn 1.
Feel the thunder and hear the roar as the Touring Car Masters drop the hammer in race number 1. Here comes the big Comet down the inside of Alan Bowden. It's a bit cheeky from Jeff Fain, who locked the front brakes up and then skates off into the dirt. Throws a big dust cloud across the top of the field as we set sail up Mountain Straight. There's all the big cars at the back trying to find their way through the field. Terry Lawler side by side with the Comet. We plunge up to Blundstone Bend here on lap 1.
Paul Freestone was on the brakes before they get to the rise on Mountain Straight, just being checked up behind Terry Lawler and Alan Bowden in the Mercury Comet. There's Abelnica. Brad Tilley just behind him in that bright green XB Falcon. But it's 6-cylinder Chrysler Hemi Power that leads the field up the hill for the first of 6 times. What a start. Cameron Tilley. Car arrived here early yesterday morning after waiting on a brand new head to arrive from the United States. It was caught up in customs. They rocked in. They did 4 laps in qualifying, and the way the inversion worked in this jumbled grid race, it put him on pole position, and he is making the most of it. Belgian.
How'd you know?
Yeah.
Right out towards the wall.
If anyone's going to be sideways, it'd be Al Belgian sideways through the middle grate.
Incredible stuff on lap number 1. Cam Mason on the back of Cam Tilley now as we plunge through the Coates Hire S's. Mason looking forward to heading to Newcastle for the final round of this year's Touring Car Master Series on home turf in November. Down through the Cooper's Dipper on lap number 1. Fisher has moved up a couple of positions already. He's up into 13. Eddie Abel-Nika, though, inside the top 10. He runs in 9.
Yeah, Brad Tilley right behind him as well, so watch for Brad to charge his way through. We clocked that XY GTHO Falcon at 283 kilometres an hour down Conrod yesterday. And John Bowe already on the back of him in 11th from 23rd. Now it's a race, side by side, wheel to wheel into the chase and around the outside, Cameron Mason. And now he's got an enormous drama getting it stopped. He just gets it turned in. Great move, Cameron Mason, and well done, Cameron Tilley, for giving him racing room.
Wasn't that a gutsy move on the outside? Surely he scarred that front right Hoosier tyre. They're a tough, durable tyre, but man, Tilley fights back at the bottom turn. That pacer was howling down Conrod Straight and retakes the lead here at the end of lap number 1.
The Anglomoyle Glennon Transport car flying. Bob Wisely's had an enormous crash. That's on the run in the braking zone at the chase. And the Bob Morris Tribute Tirana, the 76 Bathurst 1000 winner, has had a very large impact. And there's some big skid marks on the entry to the chase.
That's a big crash. That car was limping up Mountain Straight initially at the start. And you can see the marks in the background, waiting for the call from race control. What a shame. The Bob Morris Tribute car, and that's big damage. That's almost bad. So we saw Bruce Williams' car up at Queensland, maybe in with Jason Gomersall's car.
It's not been a good year for Tiranas in Touring Car Masters in damage. That's good news. Bob Wisely, the man from Mackay in far north Queensland, former drag racer, jumped into TCM for the first time. He's opened the door and climbing out under his own steam. Medical team there quickly. That's great news. So these may be retro style cars, but they carry all the current modern safety equipment. And the Vodafone safety car just standing by at the end of pit lane. So this is a look back at the start. Belgian got an enormous jump in the 302 Ford V8 powered Mercury Comet. Jeff Fane, meanwhile, in the Camaro, locked both front tyres going into turn 1.
Lucky to keep it on the track on the outside when he rejoined. This is the view from John Bowe. He started towards the back alongside Adam Garwood. Jimmy Richards not really getting a good start there in the number 2 Shannon's Insurance entry. And did he try to put it through the middle here? Brad Tilley, he on the outside here in turn number 1 with Andrew Fisher. He's done this all before. Tony Kay slowing up on the exit 2. He's down in 18th position still. And Bowe, casual as you like, just starts picking them off one by one on the run up Mountain Straight.
Now this was particularly extreme. So 6-cylinder pacer and the 5-litre Mustang 302 Ford V8. Tilley had a big slide while Mason had an even bigger lockup and got it stopped. Great racing and good respect shown by the two of them as well. How's the noise? It sounds like an air raid. It's crazy.
He didn't want to give up, and that was at least 200 metres that tyre was locked up. Got the job done there, but Cam Tilley would retake the lead by the time he got down to Murray's Corner. Now, in the background, here's the shot. He got up on the dirt, all on his own, and big impact.
Wow.
Right-hand side, even popped the boot up as he slid his way. Great evasive action from the man who got pole position yesterday, and Stephen Johnson, to avoid that impact.
That's really strange. It's not every day of the week you see a car go in that early. Normally it's after they've gone through the kink at full noise and they impact that inside wall when the rear end breaks free, but it broke free before he even got into the corner. Now, word from race control is they're dealing with this under local yellows. So that's Stephen Johnson in the Ford Mustang who was in behind him. So Bob was just a couple of wheels off the road.
Man,
we're still green. So because they've been able to get him out of the car at such a long lap here, the medical team have got him out of the way. They're dealing with it under local yellows there. So there'll be no overtaking in the chase, which will be critical as this race plays out.
Meantime, Rusty French has got up to second place now while we're going through that replay sequence. On lap 3, halfway home, in race number 1 of the Touring Car Masters. A hint of smoke out the back of the Mason car now.
I've got to say, great decision by Race Control. Props to them for keeping it green, keeping it racing, knowing that that car's tucked off to the side of the road, the driver's out of harm's way. Let's keep the show going. Well done, everyone up there in Cam's Race Control. So Cameron Tilley's got a second now over these two. Rusty French has just got in front of Cameron Mason. Jeff Fain still running in 4th, but he's got Eddie Abelnica behind him. Still plenty of time for him to come through. Freestone next, John Bowe 7th, then Brad Tilley, and this is how the great Rusty French in the Sky Sands Ford went past into P2.
Loads of experience here at the Mountain over the years. Side by side, Mason gave him enough room. Textbook move up there through Griffin's Bend. A beautifully prepared Sky Sands car that Tom Randall had a steer of at the start of the year.
It's a beautiful car. Very, very well constructed and well driven still by Rusty.
One of the drivers that didn't take the start, but still here in pit lane, Mark King. What's happened?
Look, just the lower ball joint. There's a press fit in the arm, and it appears that it's popped out. So, unfortunately, we can't press on.
Geez, you're going hard on the outlap then.
Yeah, found it on the outlap, luckily. So we checked it and saw it safe. So we'll go back and fix it, and we'll be right for the next race.
Thanks, Mark.
No worries, thank you.
It's in the car that Nigel Benson owns. Nigel's now out of the sport, and his car's still been repaired from that crash back in Adelaide earlier this year.
And Abelnica goes down the inside of Fain at turn 1, and they've made a decision not to bring that car back until the opening round of next year's Touring Car Masters Championship. Might be a change of colour in store for that as well, I'm told. It'll be interesting. We're used to that car being bright red.
Meantime, Bowe has gone up another position here. He's come from 23rd on the grid, Krause. He's up to 5th. There are no passing points in this. There's starting points and finishing points. The man hit lobby hard for that.
And he's made good headway. It gets tougher from here, though, because his next target will be Eddie Abelnica. And Eddie's actually just set the fastest lap of the race at a 2:22.46. Here's the battle a little bit further back. 10th and 11th, Adam Garwood in the White Holt Tirana versus Andrew Fisher in that GTHO Falcon. This is his second XY Ford he's running Touring Car Masters. It was a car they built at the start of this season. Nicknamed it Abigail. It's got a brand new engine for this weekend with a lot of horsepower. And they're slowly making progress in developing that car to be a contender.
Speaking of the car, it's a contender. The black and green XY is back after a lengthy rebuild. Brad Tilley is back behind his usual car as a former race winner here. One of the most successful Ford XY GTHOs you'll see on the back of Paul Freestone. So head down into the dipper. Lap 4 of 6. Continue to stay green, a local yellow. As said before, well done to Race Control for keeping this race alive in race 1 of the Touring Car Masters here at the Mountain.
So Brad Tilley in that bright green XY had a tyre delaminate, and then that delamination cut the brake line when he was testing at Sydney Motorsport Park before the 2015 season. It destroyed the car. It's been an enormous rebuilding effort. Abelnica goes to 3rd. Clocked then through the speed trap at 282 k's an hour. So that new engine is working just fine, thank you very much, for the Victorian. He's now got to deal with Rusty French and Cameron Tilley's 2 seconds up the road. So Tilley yet to win a race in TCM, and the Valiant Pacer yet to win a race. In fact, the only 6-cylinder cars who have won in TCM are the Porsche 911s.
Abelnica and the inside of French. So he's up to 2nd, but needs to find 2.6 seconds in the next 2 laps. He's been released. The Melbourne's cheapest cars, big XB Coupe, set sail for the Valiant Pacer of Cameron Tilley.
Cameron will make this hard, but unfortunately, down Conrod Straight, he's 35 kilometres an hour slower than that XB Falcon. That was a nice move down into the final turn, and well driven by Rusty just to give him plenty of racing room. Cameron Mason tried to follow him through. So that battle will continue. 2:20.0 for Abelnica last time round. Fastest man on the circuit. The gap's 1.7. But the speed trap last time round is pretty telling, Matt. 282 for Eddie Abelnica, 255 for the Valiant Pacer. He just doesn't have the horsepower that the big V8 cars have. So let's see if he can hold on. Gee, it'll be a story if he can.
Got a grandstand finish coming up perhaps as look who's lurking back here in 5th position. John Bowe in the Wilson Security Tirana across the top of Mount Panorama here in Bathurst. all the way from pretty much the back of the field. And Eddie Abelnica turning the temperature up now. It's less than 1.5 seconds as he reels in the Blue Valiant Pacer. He makes a mistake here going down to the Kotire S's.
Cameron is driving this thing so hard. He's punching out his personal best sector times. He's only done 4 laps this weekend before the start of this race, but he's about to find out what 5.8 litres of Ford V8 power is down Conrod. They both made mistakes at the elbow. They both understeered wide, but watch him get hauled in now by Eddie Abelnica.
Speed difference is what's going to hurt him.
How's the Hemi howl as it runs down Conrod Straight? Check this out. Eddie Abelnica through the sweeper takes the race lead.
Man, that was cool. We all both stood back from the screen for a moment, and Eddie Abelnica, the 52-year-old from Moorabbin in Victoria, takes the race lead here with 1 and a bit laps remaining.
Tilly's not done yet. The pace is lighter. It's better under brakes. He'll have a look down the inside, but he's not close enough. Abelnica's just got this one locked up now. What a drive. Have a look at this. They both had big moments at the elbow. Eddie almost ended up in the fence. Tilly defended. The XB went one way, then it went the other, then it slid through, and then it defended. Great bit of racing.
How's the attack here from a long way back and just zips down the inside? It's the aero watch from the big Falcon just sweeps across the front.
Yeah, she punches a reasonably large hole in the air down Conrod, Matt, at 280k.
So final lap now, Abelnica has already got a 0.7 of a second margin as we watch some of the guys coming through the field. Fisher from the middle of the field is now in 8th, Fane in 9th, and Hansford finishes in 10th.
Oh no, Mason, huge failure.
That had been teasing.
He was 4th, so they've just had an enormous detonation on the run up into the cutting. We saw the telltale signs of smoke coming from that car. Here's Eddie Abelnica.
That smoke had been hinting for quite some time, hadn't it, from the 3 car, and has now come to a stop. Here's French with the Tirana right on the back of John Bowe from 23rd up to 4th place.
How's that JB driving style? It's like he's out for a Saturday morning cruise in a road car. Gets around Melbourne in an E-Type. It's a lovely thing, but he's just driving this Tirana so smooth and controlled. Doesn't want to put a scratch on it. Just bring it home. The big points paying races are this afternoon and tomorrow morning. Stephen Johnson's 15th, by the way, but he will start from pole in race 2 later on.
On board with Bowe, the final lap. Eddie Abelnica, it's out to 2 seconds.
Just gets the rev limiter before they can get the chase. That was just over 265 k's an hour down there in the Tirana. What a performance. Eddie Abelnica, race win number 9 coming his way in Touring Car Masters.
And his 3rd here at the Mountain. His last one was back in 2013. And the Melbourne's Cheapest Cars entry will pick up race 1 here in the Touring Car Masters. Watch Bowe. This is going to be a grandstand finish, or is it? French just shuts the door, and he will hold down 3rd position.
I thought there was going to be contact there. I wasn't sure if Rusty saw him. Good racing. Freestone's under pressure. This is P5, 6 and 7. And Garwood just holds out Andrew Fisher.
Great race. Hansford inside the top 10, got ahead of Jeff Fane. And Wayne Mercer coming around to collect 10th position. Here's the view from Bowe as he tried the outside. Thinking of a switchback maybe. He hung tough here, but normally can't do that. Got the curve up, and French just sealed the deal for 3rd place here in the Sky Sands entry.
I reckon that's one of Rusty's best Touring Car Masters races. P3, brilliant drive. Good speed aboard the Sky Sands Ford. So Abelnica and Tilly 1 and 2. Cameron Tilly oh so close to a win. Rusty French 3rd. Bowe, Freestone and Garwood were next. Then Andrew Fisher, Ryan Hansford, Jeff Fane, and Wayne Mercer raced his way into the top 10.
Great race here in our jumble grid. The trophy race at Mount Panorama. Alan Bowden in the Comet was 11th, down to Tony Karafalowski in 13th place. Stephen Johnson got to 15th. Belinda Price and Stan Adler completing your top 10. Dave Roberts, Cam Mason and Terry Lawler of your 23 cars.